Well, this is a very interesting June day. First it was very hot, then I had to put on my jacket, and now it's hot again. It's rain, it's sunshine, it's rain. But this is, of course, this variable weather is very good for nature, for wildlife. Especially in this area. This is a place where a stream, a very old stream that is centuries old, runs into the country from the lakes, the ring lakes surrounding this province, into this countryside. And this is a lifeline for a lot of plant life and insects. For example, here you can find beautiful orchids. And one of them is the leopard marsh orchid. And this orchid would not be here without this stream. This stream is essential to herbs such as this orchid. Now, the leopard marsh orchid is not the most rare species. It's actually one of the most mundane species of the Netherlands, of Western Europe. And even though the leopard marsh orchid is a very common species, it is beautiful. Let me venture a little bit closer to the stream. I can see dragonflies all around me, absolutely beautiful. Now, this stream truly is a life giver. So I'm now surrounded by orchids. This could be a leopard marsh orchid, it could also be a cross between it and another species. This is very difficult to determine for me based on the morphology of this orchid. But look at its beauty, look at how beautiful it is. And these orchids, they need a lot of water, so that's why it's growing very close to a stream. But they also need a very clean environment, so they cannot be exposed to high levels of nitrogen. The fungus which is connected to the orchid's roots will actually feed the orchid, it will feed the plant. So orchids are really have adapted, have evolved to grow in a nutrient-poor environment. And that is a problem because too much nitrogen will actually cause a lot of growth of grasses, which you can also see over here. And these grasses, such as reed grass, but also regular grass, can outcompete the orchids. Like I said, having adapted to a nutrient-poor environment, they are usually slow growers and they are used to avoiding competition with fast-growing grasses, which really prefer a much more nutrient-rich environment. And we have a lot of nitrogen pollution in our country, which is quite a divisive topic in our country, especially the cattle. The high amount of cattle that we have in the country causes a lot of deposition of nitrogen and phosphorus into the system. And this leads to a shift in ecosystems where very delicate species such as orchid are being outcompeted by fast-growing plants, for example. We have the same problem with amphibians, which do not tolerate eutrophication of the water. They cannot handle polluted water. In the same way, orchids do not handle polluted soil. Now, to deal with this problem of eutrophication, which can cause local extinction of orchids and other species, our government mows a lot of area. So this area is regularly mowed, where all the grasses are exported, removed from the system. And this is a way to export all those excess nutrients from cattle, from nitrogen deposition, to export it in the form of grasses. And those dead grasses are then fed to cattle, for example, or they are exported and sold, removed from the country. And that's how this area can remain relatively nutrient poor. At least nutrient levels can be kept at acceptably low levels by regular mowing and exporting of nutrients in the form of grasses. And that is what saves these orchids. But of course, we have to address the root cause of the problem. And that is that we have excess nitrogen deposition. So we need to reduce our cattle, our livestock, even though it's a painful process. And of course, farmers should be compensated in many ways because this is not their fault. But we have to reduce nitrogen pollution, phosphorus pollution, if we want to save delicate herbs such as these orchids, but also amphibians and fish and many other species that depend on a very clean, nutrient-poor environment. There's a camping ground behind me, and the kids over there are smoking weed. I can smell it. But on a related note, I'm now using cannabis oil without the THC, without the hallucinogen. And this cannabis oil supposedly has anti-inflammatory properties. So I hope that this will help me with my Lyme fatigue by reducing inflammation and therefore fatigue. So in a couple of weeks I hope to give you a positive update on this. And in the meantime, I'll just enjoy nature sparingly, going out into the forest twice a week for maybe half an hour, 1 hour tops. Well, it's 4:45 in the morning. I couldn't sleep, so I went out of bed, got out of bed and jumped into my car and went into the forest. So it's a very early Saturday morning, around 5 a.m. You can hear all the birds whistling. I can smell all the fragrant flowers. Saw 2 foxes on my way over here. And maybe I can spot a few deer. It was a very warm, humid night. It's still 20 degrees Celsius, so about 70 degrees Fahrenheit, I guess. So very warm for 5 a.m. And it always pays off to visit the forest early in the morning. I can hear the geese, all the birds, the frogs, and maybe I'll spot a few deer or foxes again, like I did just now. So let's find out. I think I saw my first raven perched on a dead ash tree. So that's also a good start. And the deer are very shy over here, but sometimes early in the morning you can spot them. You have to be very silent. Beautiful 5:15. Nobody around. Perfect. No, it seems that raven was just a crow. But still. I had almost forgot how charming the forest is so early in the morning, with the smells, the sounds, and of course the complete lack of people. Amazing. Pure serenity, That was a young bird of prey, but I couldn't see very well what it was. Was it a young buzzard or something else? I'll have to review the footage at home. I can see some little grebes that make that beautiful rolling sound. Catching fish, beautiful. So tranquil. Well, that was nice, seeing the konik horses play around. And what you just saw on the footage is not aggression. These are most likely young stallions, and they're just having fun. And this is their way of playing, of learning how to fight and how to exert their dominance in the herd. So this is typical behavior for these young stallions. Sometimes they kick each other, but most of the time it's just good fun. They're just playing, prancing, having fun, running around. It's always nice to see how these stallions grow up and slowly learn to take on a dominant role in the herd. I also visited the moors, which are surrounded by ring lakes. Here you can find many insects and herbs, including orchids. I even stumbled upon a nest of paper wasps, which are quite rare over here. A most interesting plant which grows here is the sundew. This carnivorous plant traps insects and spiders in its sticky tentacles. The plant's flexible leaves wrap around helpless prey, after which enzymes slowly digest them. This amazing behavior allows sundews to grow on nutrient-poor soils, as they gain most of their nutrients from insects. During summer, they produce small, delicate flowers.
Similar to orchids, sundews are in decline due to pollution. I was happy to visit this area again, which has such different wildlife compared to the adjacent forests. Thank you for watching this episode, and I hope to see you next time.